Hello and welcome to another podcast for It's Football Not Soccer. My name's Jack and I'm joined here by Tope, Michael and Jordan.
You right there?
Right there.
Hi guys.
And we're just going to discuss a bit about, is it boring United? Although they won 1-0 yesterday against CSK in Moscow, there's been a lot of talk and controversy, not so much controversy, but concern over the way they're playing. And Tope, I'm just going to go right to you about how you think they're playing and why they're not scoring goals.
I would say that watching Manchester United isn't the most exciting thing to do at the moment. I think LVG is very rigid with his tactics, and he doesn't give his players the players a lot of freedom to express themselves. I think he likes zonal football, so the players should be in a certain area of the pitch at all times, or can only be at a certain proximity. So I think that's not letting our players to really express themselves as well. And I think we've got Rooney playing up top, and he's not as young as he once was, and he's not as quick as he once was. So that's not helping the situation as well.
So what do you feel that he should have maybe dropped? Because I figure the more you drop from striker to maybe number 10 to midfield, the more you have to run.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But I think that if you've got Rooney at 10, then you've got your Schneiderlin and your Schweinsteiger to do all the labour work, and then he can just be where he wants, be free to do what he wants. Fling the balls about, find your Matters, find your Martials, and then we can get some goals.
That's what everyone's been saying, that Martial should be playing up top.
Yeah.
And what was it, one game they had him playing on the left,
and
everyone was...
Yeah, I think with
what they're doing.
There was a game against Everton, and then to limit the influence of Seamus Coleman, we had Martial on the left, because he kind of cancelled him out, and that actually worked. And we won.
0-0.
We won that game.
Oh, you won.
Yeah, but what do you guys think?
Well, I was talking to Jordan about it earlier, and I think it summed up last night. There was two options. Obviously, we follow the English teams here, and both the Manchester clubs were playing last night. And years ago, under Sir Alex Ferguson, whenever Man United was playing, I'd take every opportunity to watch them because I thought they were so dynamic. They was exciting. They scored goals. They sometimes conceded, but they usually outscored the teams. There was goals. There was excitement. Well, at the moment, I think you'd associate that with Manchester City, and I watched that game last night, and I thought that was a great game, attacking football from both sides. To be fair, great counter-attack, just great performance by City, and then I read the report today from the Man United game, and it sounds like a very slow-paced, very unexciting game. And fair play, they pulled out the 1-0, and I guess in the Champions League group stages, that's the most important thing.
Get the win.
Winning, they're top of the group, and let's be honest, who's gonna care if they qualify? No one cares what it was like. But as a Man United fan, I'd like to go back to top and just ask: are you concerned, or how do you feel about your club at the moment compared to a couple of years ago?
Or even last year with David Moyes.
Well, with David Moyes, we were that was
the year before,
last, but we didn't do very well. We might have been playing better football in some cases, but the reality is that we ended up 7th, so we were Premiership champions, and we didn't retain it. So I think with LVG, this is what I'm gonna expect for the next 18 months or.
Really? You don't feel changed?
No, I don't think it's gonna change. I don't think, and it does annoy me, but I just think, just get us stable, get us qualifying for the Champions League until you go, and then when the next guy comes, you'll have a good base of players, young players coming through.
Yeah, like Mike Smalling's pretty good, isn't he?
Joker. But with your players like your Martials and the players in the youth squad, and they're coming up, and then whoever it is, if it's Ryan Giggs or we get another manager who will play that attacking football, then we'll go from there, because this is LVG, and if you look at the clubs that he's been at before, this is what he's done. He's very, very tactical, very rigid with his formation, so it's not going to change.
Do you think maybe like the board sort of they saw LVG and they thought, oh, he's managed Bayern Munich,
Yeah,
he's
that was
like
it,
Barcelona and stuff. So he
So
thought,
he
oh,
got for
they
results,
He got for his resume.
exactly. He
Yeah,
must have thought, oh, look, they're attacking football and stuff. But it's not how he played. Like if you looked at Holland, even in the World Cup, they didn't play really expansive, attractive attacking football.
But I think because you got to think about the managers that were on the market as well. There wasn't a lot to get. So with Van Gaal now, you know, he was a good option. He was doing well at Holland, and obviously his CV speaks for itself. But the reality is, he's not playing the football that the fans and the ex-players like your Paul Scholes want to see, and that's why they're going to voice their opinions on. Because Paul Scholes is right. During his time, they weren't playing like that, and he wouldn't want to be playing in a team, LVG's team.
What do you think, Jordan?
I'd like to just build on Michael and Tope's points. I think throughout the years we've just seen that sort of exciting, sort of attacking football from Man United. And I know even when it was a 0-0 at 80 minutes, you sort of still keep the channel on Man United because they're famous for these Fergie late goals. But you sort of get to half time where it's 0-0 and you just can't see the game actually
Yeah,
getting,
that is true.
yeah,
That
you
is
can't
true.
see the game getting a bit more exciting. I mean, I know you guys are more stable than you were under David Moyes because I think you're fourth now in the Prem at
The
the moment.
defence.
Yeah, the defense is
really
a lot
doing
more
it.
stable.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a stat that Sky Sports recently released that you guys are the 20th ranked team in regards to back passing. And I mean, under Fergie, I mean, I know there was a lot of possession play, but in terms of attacking, sort of keeping the ball high pressure, actually pushing teams to the limit where they were defending for most of the game, I don't think you guys are really, going for it as such.
And I think you have the ability to as well. Like you just named some of the players in your squad, attacking wise, and the potential is there to, if a manager come in who played attacking football, they could be maybe like could be scoring lots of goals against teams like CSK Moscow and midweek when they last weekend. So when they played Crystal Palace away, you can be scoring lots of goals, but obviously I think he's going for results over performance at the moment.
The one final point I just want to make on Man United is Memphis Depay. Now I remember you saying quite a while ago you thought he was gonna, like, maybe in a couple of years get to sort of, I'll say Hazard's level, what Hazard was maybe like a year or so ago. What do you make of him and his sort of attitude and his behaviour and his performances at the moment?
Well, I think it's gonna be hard for any young player, no matter how well you've done in whatever league you've played in, to come to Manchester United and hit the ground running. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's one for the future. But you would think with Depay being Dutch, LVG being Dutch, LVG actually including Depay in the World Cup squad in 2014, that it was a
It'd click.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was a natural fit, but it hasn't worked out like that. But I still think I know Depay's got the potential. With his attitude, he's one of those players. When I hear him in interviews, I can tell he wants to be the best player in the world. That's what he wants, and sometimes you need that as a football player. And that's a criticism of English players, that they don't think like that.
That's probably
Exactly.
absolutely true.
So with Depay, the way he wants to be the best player in the world. So I think
the only way is up.
I just think the system don't fit him.
Yeah.
I think he's a player who, when he's played teams before, he runs at players, he counter-attacks, he's lethal, but he doesn't fit the system of Man United, which is probably why he's been left out recently. But he's one of those players that, if give him a year, 2 years to settle, as soon as a new manager comes in with a bit of an attacking philosophy,
release the shackles a bit.
I can imagine he'll just explode.
Free flowing and
Give him that freedom and he'll just explode and get to the levels you want him to.
One last thing I would like to say is that I remember with like Ferguson and when Cristiano Ronaldo was there, even though Ronaldo would trap back at times, Ferguson allowed the team to accommodate Ronaldo so that he was very attacking, and they would accommodate it, that he wouldn't always be running back.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what LVG does with United. You have to be tracking back.
Yeah, it's the
It's
same for
also
Mourinho and
Experience
Hazard.
as well, 'cause
Yeah.
he might not be enjoying it, but the defensive work he's earning now,
Exactly.
even if the new manager gives him some license to stay for, it will always benefit him in the future.
Yeah.
definitely.
All right, guys, let us know sort of what you think on Memphis Depay and United. Are they boring? I don't know. Personally, I think they're a bit boring. But I'm a Chelsea fan, so we're doing even worse. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on our videos. Let us know what you think. Cheers, guys.
See you later.
See you later.